Alrighty, everybody. This is Day One Patch Podcast. This is episode 573. I'm your temporary host, Matt Lawrence, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, co-conspirator, colleague, friend, man in white t-shirt, Tim Spence.
It's got some black on it.
It's got a little bit of writing on there, yeah.
Yes, sir.
What does it say there? It literally says, "What's this thing made of?" What's this made of?
It says, "What's this made of?" Yeah. If you've
and what
ever
is
seen, there's the account online for the Apollo, the parrot, who's got a fairly significant following, who is smart and knows a good number of words, and they ask him to identify what color things are, what material they're made of, that sort of thing. And he's pretty damn good at it. So they actually have a t-shirt design that's like of asking him in like a manga panel style. Yeah, it's goofy. It's pretty good.
And this is on TikTok, I would assume?
Yeah, Instagram, a bunch of different platforms.
The old tickety bop.
Is there...
But today is not about the old tickety bop. Today is about video games. And before I jump into the video game fun fact, I have some top stories for you. And top of the shit heap. We got a shit heap of a week here. It's fucking kind of terrible. I was telling Tim before the episode began that it's all bad news. I tried to find some good news and was like, all the good news is so small, like we can't ignore these stories. So the big bombshell, of course, is Xbox's restructuring. Lots of layoffs, lots of different things happening. There's some good news in there, though, a little bit. So we'll get into that when we get into it. Then Xbox has a bold plan. This is a simple story, but one that I want to discuss because it's bold and very strange. And then in modern gaming fashion, Black Flag Resynced came out to fanfare, but also backlash because there's some microtransactions. So that's a whole thing. But let's jump into the video game fun fact. Tim, play us into the video game fun fact.
I don't know.
Well, today I did a video game fun fact on the Digivice. So I keep seeing these ads. Oh my God. Yeah, I keep seeing these ads on Instagram saying they're coming back and they're coming back for 2026 and all these things. And then I learned that there was one in 2024 or something. So I did a brief history. It's not too long of a fun fact, but let's jump into it. So what is a Digivice? So this is a Digimon thing. So most people know the Digivice from the Digimon anime, but Bandai also released real handheld Digivice toys. So this is a device that's in the show, but also in your pocket or in your hand, whatever you want. The first Japanese Digivice launched in July of 1999 alongside Digimon Adventure. Unlike Tamagotchi-style virtual pet, the original Digivice wasn't about constantly feeding and cleaning up your Digimon and, playing games with them and hanging out with them and things like this. Instead, it was more of a walking adventure game. The Digivice contained a tiny pendulum sensor, and as you walked around or even shook the device, the Digimon would travel through different areas. Along the way, you would battle enemy Digimon, rescue friendly Digimon using help signals. You could even collect items, earn points to evolve your Digimon into stronger forms. It was essentially a miniature RPG that encouraged kids to get up and move. So kind of like a, hey, get out there, walk around. Don't just be watching Digimon and playing the Vigi games as they were back then.
What year was this?
This was in 1999, July of 1999. So that's a hell of a summer for some kids there. I'm sure there was some fun had.
And predating things like the Polka Walker from Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
I would imagine, it's kind of beyond the scope of this research, but I would imagine it influenced that device as well.
Yeah, I wonder.
But what's interesting about that, actually, small tangent, but I always wonder how much, Pokemon is the king in this relationship. It's like Digimon is second, maybe third place if there's something else in there. Pokemon's definitely a very distant first place. And I always wonder how much a license like Pokemon would look at their competitors. I mean, I suppose it's one way to keep on top of it, right? If you're like, hey, they're making these devices and they're becoming iconic, we should make our own. But sometimes you're going to think, hey, why would I follow, the person in second place? So an interesting business issue. But another version of this thing came out in 2001. Bandai released a new generation of Digivices for Digimon tamers called the D-Arc in Japan and the D-Power in North America. These introduced one of the coolest mechanics in Digimon history, Card Slash. Players could swipe or enter Digimon trade card codes to unlock new partners, gain items, power up their Digimon, trigger evolutions, and it made the toy feel much closer to what kids saw in the actual TV show. The North American D-Power actually had something incredibly unusual for 2001 and actually shipped with some PC peripherals, specifically a CD-ROM and a serial cable. Yes, a serial cable. This is how old these things are. You can connect your Digivice directly to the PC, and you could actually battle other players online through Bandai's Maxverse service. Now, this is actually a feature that many fans didn't realize existed because the internet was new, and you would get a CD-ROM and a serial cable, in the box and be like, "What's this for?" And then forget about it because you're out walking around playing with your cards and playing with your Digivice. Now, there is supposed to be a Digivice revival in 2026. That's the thing I've been seeing on Instagram and other places. This year, Bandai announced the Digivice version revival releasing in Japan on August 1st, 2026. Rather than creating another premium collector's item, Bandai went back to the original formula. The new version uses a monochrome screen like the 1999 toy. It keeps the original classic orange and blue shell colors. It still uses a pendulum walking mechanic, and it includes over 80 Digimon. It covers the story from the original Digimon Adventure all the way through Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna. It also launches at a much lower price than Bandai's premium, 25th anniversary color Digivice that released in 2024. So collectors are going to be trying to grab all these things, I'm sure. Original 1999 Digivices have become genuine collector's items. Working examples commonly sell for well over $100 US, with box versions often costing much more, of course. The Tamers era D-Power has also become highly collectibles, especially rarer color variants. The new 2026 Digivice gives fans a much cheaper way to experience the original style without having to pay for collector prices or relying, of course, on older hardware. And like I said, it was a brief fun fact, but that's it. That's the Digivice, the Digivice Tamer, and then the re-release, and then another re-release that's coming up in 2026.
That's really funny. I love the tie-in toys that actually do have some merit outside of just the novelty of being a toy. Like the Poke Walkers from Heart Gold and Soul Silver were at the time considered to be some of the best, most accurate pedometers out there, that hospitals were apparently trying to contact Nintendo for the technology because it was so accurate.
Holy crap.
Just so funny to me that it was some children's toy is the accurate step counter. But you know what? We can't have any cheaters when it comes to leveling up your Pokemon one experience point at a time by putting them into a Pokewalker, I guess. So leave it to Nintendo to be cracking down on that hardcore.
You know what though? Props to them, because it's they had a job and they're we want to read the steps, but the job wasn't loosely read the steps. It was read the steps. So someone was yeah, it's all right, well, let's do that,
Crazy.
What's kind of interesting I find about these things is you would think that re-releasing these, clearly they had that re-release, that anniversary edition in 2024, and now they're trying again, or they're making another version in 2026. Clearly there's a level of success with these things. But I would always think that this would have just been taken over almost completely by the phone. You can have a Tamagotchi pet on there. You could, I guess the Animal Crossing app is gone, but you could play games on there. You have a pedometer. I used to play a game called Walking Quest or Walking Scape or something like that. Walkscape, and it's an RPG where you walk in real life and things. And
right.
it was, it's kind of cool. Pokemon Go is another one. And also with the accuracy angle, like you mentioned, what's kind of interesting there is, so my watch will read my steps, and so will my phone, and they'll kind of amalgamate, they'll sync up. Because if I, took my watch off to use the shower, but I had my phone for 10 steps into the bathroom or something, it'll be add that 10 because the watch didn't get that or whatever. But I've compared with people that I'm with, and it'll be, I understand that we have different strides or whatever, but I'll have like 11,000 steps and they'll have like 7,000. And it's like, who's accurate here? Like what, like, so it needs some of that Poke Walker technology, I guess.
I wonder how it holds up now, or if it's like it's been completely outclassed by now, or if it's still really accurate.
Honestly, it'd be interesting because I don't have like a fitness band. I just have a Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, which is old now. But there's like fitness centric ones. Like there's Garmin ones for outdoors, and then there's like Fitbits, and then a bunch. Like there's a lot of fitness bands. I'm just going to estimate roughly that I would imagine the fitness bands are going to be the most accurate, because like oftentimes they have like, this thing has like a fancy screen or whatever, showing animations and stuff on the screen, whereas some of those fitness bands just have like the time and maybe like show you your text. The rest of it's all sensors for your heart rate and your sweat or whatever else, your sweat equity that you're putting in.
Right.
But let's move on from the fitness, move on from the Digivice onto a freaking bombshell. This was crazy. We kind of all knew this was coming. It's better in some ways. It's worse in some ways. Of course, that's subjective because some people are going to expect different things. So let's jump in. Xbox boss Asha Sharma announces 3,200. That's right. You heard it right. 3,200 layoffs, including 1,600 today. That was on July 6th, with 4 studios leaving for new management. That's sort of the good news. This comes to us from IGN, and we'll get into all this. So 3,200 staff are set to lose their jobs. 1,600 of those happen on July 6th, the day of the article that was written. And the rest will happen soon. I've seen, end of quarter or whatever, but I'm sure that they're trying to figure it out. So I wouldn't be surprised if that timeline gets a little wishy-washy as it goes. Asha calls this the most significant restructure in Xbox history, and that Microsoft's gaming business is not healthy. I mean, you're right. Overall, Microsoft's gaming division will be losing approximately 1/5 of its staff. Now, there's some studios that people were scared of losing, and this is the good news. I did hear that some people did have some job cuts and things within these. I don't have the details on that because I wanted to focus a little bit on the light at the end of the tunnel, which is Compulsion Games. That's the maker of South of Midnight. I know some people were concerned about them. And Double Fine Productions, that's the maker of Psychonauts and Keeper and other things like that. They will not be completely, going away or being shut down or anything like that. They will actually become independent studios. Both will retain their catalog, IP, and a runway for their next games, which is basically a severance package, which I don't know the law fully, of course, but I've never heard of that before, so I would imagine that was just sort of a courtesy thing. So that's some good news. If you like those studios, they're still alive. They're back to being independent, and I'm sure if they want to be purchased by another big company, I guess they can, or they can keep making games and use that runway the best they can. Then, of course, you have Hellblade, specifically Ninja Theory, the maker of Hellblade, as well as Undead Labs. These are the maker of State of Decay. Both have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Senua, as well as State of Decay 3. So that's kind of like a little bit of a severance package. This headline, this part of the headline, I suppose, suggests that these titles, so Senua as well as State of Decay 3, will eventually release under new ownership. I saw some speculation on Instagram as to whether or not they would still be on Game Pass and all these things, but I think that's semantics. I feel like as long as State of Decay 3 is actually good, I'm going to buy it because I feel like Undead Labs has been like through World War like 1 and 2 in terms of like the dev shit. Like it's been pretty bad.
It's been rough.
In terms of dev hell, it's not good. But it doesn't stop here. Fans of Marvel's Blade are kind of left hanging here. Arcane, that's the maker of Marvel's Blade, will now see its management enter the required consultation with it. So basically, you need to review potential strategic options under French labor law. And they're looking to potentially sell the company or spin out the studio, but I didn't see any headlines or anything that said that they were looking to shut it down or anything like that. So again, a little bit of good news. Of course, none of this is amazing, but I will say this. Sega, this was years ago now, but Sega bought Relic and they were doing Company Heroes, and I'm a fan of Company Heroes. And then Company Heroes 3 comes out. As far as I understand it, it's underwhelming. And weirdly, I thought I bought that game, and then on the Steam sale, I was like, wait, this isn't in my library. So anyway, I don't know what happened there. Maybe it's on a different launcher or something. I need an Adriano level
Get the spreadsheet,
yeah. Yeah. But but Relic, like basically like Sega, more or less, I mean, from memory, was basically like, we could shut you down or we could spin you off and you can become independent again. So they ended up spinning off, becoming independent. And I think that's just a better way to handle it. It's sort of like, hey, we're not going to like completely destroy this, go ahead, do whatever. And of course that can't always happen, especially if the company wants the IP from the games that they've made and things like that. But a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Back to the darkness, though. Layoffs will be affecting, of course, this isn't just limited to, but layoffs will be affecting Activision, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. Recent reports seem to indicate that Asha wants to speed up development on the new Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Halo. Xbox has reportedly, this is a scathing statistic, has reportedly been losing 64 cents for every dollar invested in it. So this is a fucking mess. So that's the end of that story, at least. But Tim, what are your thoughts?
It just makes me wonder, like, when the balancing point is going to be. Like, obviously a lot of jobs were, like, a lot of companies were hiring through COVID and stuff. And it feels like all we've heard of since 2020 is just these massive companies doing huge layoffs and layoffs and layoffs and layoffs. And it just makes me think, like, the industry is going to suffer for it beyond just this short term where they're laying people off, because you're going to have people who otherwise might have been growing up. They're like hitting college, they're hitting university level, and they're looking at the world and going, what do I want to do with my life? And they think, where otherwise they might have gone, oh, like, I love games, I want to get into game development and stuff. They're going to look at the industry now and they're going to go, there's just layoffs constantly. Why would I want to gamble on something that's this like destabilized? Like, it just seems like there's no guarantees in the job market anywhere, but like, why would I want to go to something so volatile?
And the thing that sucks there too is obviously there's market conditions affecting this. I mean, the COVID overhiring, like you mentioned, you have your RAM crisis, you have your kind of not argument, but your fight for time, where people are spending time on TikTok and scrolling Instagram and things instead of playing a video game for an hour at night. And so you're fighting other entertainment sort of venues and that. And so the thing that sucks about that is all that is kind of in flux. It's fluid. So if the person really wanted to get into gaming, but they're like, I'm not going to be a game dev, I'm going to go be a plumber. Well, hopefully there's not too many people doing that, because then you're going to have too many plumbers. You know what I mean? Like, all this stuff is in flux. Like, it is not an easy decision to be made. And I have a podcast I do for my work, and I interviewed a guy who, for actually a colleague that I work with, and he said, like, his son was interested in computers and coding, and was talking to him about going into college, university for something like comp sci. And he was kind of like, I don't know. I don't have an answer for him, because it's like,
yeah,
like, is it going to be taken over by AI? It's super unstable. Like, what's it going to look like? Like a mess, like just a mess of like thoughts.
All you can really do right now is just, like, you can't promise anything. You can just sort of give your own insight and advice that way, right? Like, hardly the first time that the tech industry has ever experienced hard times, but like, you always, like, things do always seem to balance out in the end. I'm just wondering how far out are we from that balancing point right now?
And what the aftermath will be, because like, if things, get really bad, you could have a loss of, companies. And I mean, obviously we're losing jobs already. Yeah. And then it takes a while to like build back up to that, or you might rebuild into something that's not recognizable to today's standard, which is, something. The one thing that Ryan and I had talked about off air quite a bit is that a lot of the time Microsoft was letting these studios kind of do what they wanted, within reason, of course, but it was sort of like they had, creative freedom, go ahead and do, kind of do whatever. For example, in the case of Double Fine, as far as I understand it, they were more or less told, go make games for Game Pass and like fill that out. And I read an article that was like, basically, these devs were ordered to do that, and like they're being punished for that in a way, which, I mean, I get that take, but at the same time, it's like, what sucks is I feel like Microsoft really should have held the reins a little more and been like, this is our vision. Like, you can't just say like, yeah, just go make whatever. Maybe you can have one or two smaller studios, which I know Double Fine is one as a smaller studio, do that. But like, for example, like State of Decay 3 should be out. Like, you can't let State of Decay 3 sit in development that long, because we saw some gameplay and it doesn't look that different. And that's not to say they can't have creative freedoms, but I think that there needs to be someone there, like, being like, hey, like, we need to have these deadlines. This is our vision. We need to hit these holiday seasons, because unfortunately, when the money runs out, this is what we're seeing. Like, if that number is correct, like if 64 cents of every dollar invested is being lost, like, that's really, really bad.
I guess I just hope they're looking in the right spot for cost savings. I don't know, like, if it is actually like a top down, the goal is to like restructure, and this is a way that they think that is going to be effective in the long term, and not just a short term, like, let's fire some people and then our bottom line looks good for the shareholders this year, then maybe that's what they've had to do. But I just feel like far too often the only goal these companies have is just to have the short term dealt with, and then in the long term, we'll deal with that when we get to it. And it's like, the problem is that in the meanwhile, people's jobs hang in the balance, their livelihoods. Like, these companies are playing so fast and loose with people's lives, essentially. And it's like, people might argue like, oh, it's not their responsibility. Like, if they didn't want this volatility, like, they could work in a different industry. Like, you do have the power to change your position to an extent. Like, that might be some people's argument, but it also would serve these companies in the long term to invest in their people, because like, when you do stuff like this, the damage goes beyond just the people that are affected by it, right? Like I mentioned before with the industry, now it just sort of has this like dark cloud hanging over it.
Oh, totally.
And you have to imagine, like, with people who are caught in the crossfire a little bit, like, sure, obviously they're affected, but you lose confidence with your employees, people lose confidence in the industry, and then the customer base you like lose confidence with as well, because why would people want to support companies that, if they've made all of these incredible things that they wanted to, these games, these experiences they wanted to support, and then they're just sort of like, again, playing fast and loose with their employees. Like, it affects the way that people are perceiving them, and it could affect how much money they're spending on your product and your game. But I do have to wonder how much of what these companies are even doing is in favor of making money off of X product versus just maintaining favor with the shareholders and the producers and stuff, making sure that they can just stay afloat long enough to move on to next thing and keep things going in perpetuity.
What really sucks too is I feel like layoffs are always the thing that people reach for immediately.
Yeah. And not just in this, it's like in every industry.
Oh yeah.
Like my wife has been affected by it twice, and she's only been in her industry for like 6 years.
That's crazy. It feels like I understand it would be hard to, part of a restructure, you may have to shed some people. I understand that, but sometimes they just shed people because it's hard to move them. It's like, we still need 10,000 people. We have 10,000 total, but we need to restructure. Let's lay off 2,000, put up 2,000 job postings over time, and then we'll restructure with just 8,000 because we'll be more nimble, or maybe those 8,000 are at least very close to where they should be. And then we'll hire into the new structure the other 2,000. And it still sucks because it's like, those people that get laid off, it's like, well, are they just going to reapply? Like, it's got to be an awkward transaction there. They're probably not. They're probably going to be pissed off. like this sucks. And one of the things that I was talking off air about too, and kind of reading up on a bit, is what was going on under Phil Spencer. Like, Phil Spencer was well liked in the community, and he seems to like kind of have like a good reputation. But I mean, Asha just got here, and like she kind of inherited this, and this seems like a rat's nest of a disaster. And like part of it, one thing I wonder is it no longer enough? And maybe it never was, but is it no longer enough to just make a good game and expect it to sell and like continue your position in your company moving forward? Because I know that like as Xbox continually kind of gobbled up studios and kept gobbling up studios, which means they're gobbling up more game devs, which means they have more people to make more games. A lot of like the press and stuff was saying, just make good games and the people will come. Just make good games and the people will come. Well, a lot of games have come out. I know State of Decay 3, as we mentioned, is in a little bit of trouble, but it's like Hellblade has had at least one entry into that franchise since Xbox. South of Midnight is out. Double Fine's released 2 games. And that's just a couple of examples. Like there's like Starfield has come out. I understand it started before them too and that, but I mean like Diablo 4 has seen continued support, and there's many more examples. But I feel like again, it's like you almost need like a really strategic, cohesive vision now, because you're like, I don't know whether it's you're cutting through the noise because there's so many game devs now or what it is, but because if people really cared about the what was commonly called the best deal in gaming, which was Game Pass, wouldn't they have bought an Xbox? Especially since Xbox has a budget tier system as well with the Xbox Series S. And I kind of feel like I don't know what the fix is here. And that plays into what you just said, Tim, because they haven't been doing well for 2 generations. They have this massive restructuring and these layoffs and these spinning out of companies and things. So really, like if they say we're going to release a new Xbox next year, and it's going to be $1,500 Canadian because of all the RAM crisis and stuff, I'm going to be like, is that going to be a brick in 2 years? Because are you guys going to quit gaming? Like Microsoft will just kill them off. Like they'll just be like, if they don't make money, Microsoft's not going to pay, lose that 64 cents. Or they'll spin them off. And I hear some people, I mean, very speculating, saying like Netflix should buy them and things. But it's like, are we really going to have like Netflix's Xbox? Like, I don't know. That just feels weird.
Yeah, like... Yeah, I don't know that there is an obvious fix here, because it feels like whatever we would say, oh, well, common sense would just be to do this. The rebuttal is going to, like, from the companies would, of course, just be, well, that's not, money efficient enough. It's not good enough for our bottom line, so it's not a real option.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, well, so then you're just kind of fucked then, and you're going to just circle the drain slowly. Like, it's up to you to an extent if you are going to do it that way. Like, I don't really... The greed is always going to be the part that like ruins everything, right? Like it's a problem that's going to strike any creative industry that is being run by like only bottom line searching or tracking, business oriented people, right?
Yeah.
It's not exactly the most synergistic relationship.
What really stinks too is like, we're talking a lot about what's happening at Xbox, and Xbox is certainly in trouble because they're in, second place, unless you consider Nintendo wherever they're at. But more or less, there's 2 people competing, Sony and Microsoft, and PlayStation is a distant first, and Xbox is down the dumps, and what sucks is they've been down in the dumps for 2 gens. But here's the thing: looking over at PlayStation Land, it's not amazing there either. They haven't been mass releasing, amazing first party titles like they used to. And you could blame part of that, and certainly it is partially to blame, on the dev cycles, how much games take to make, how many people it takes, that type of thing, 100%. But also, like, there's so many man hours, so many like dollars have been squandered on chasing the dream of games as a service. I mean, like, think about how much time Concord took to make. And then they just go, I give up. Like, that's a crazy way to handle it.
Huge loss. Yeah.
Massive loss.
Yeah. I I don't know what you do. It's the decisions aren't being made by the people who have the best interest of the industry at heart anymore.
Yeah. It's like a business transaction. It's like it has always been a business, for most people, unless there's an indie studio out there funded by someone who's like mega rich and doesn't care. Maybe that exists somewhere, probably does, but who knows?
Yeah.
But for these guys, it's a business transaction, but now it's big business. This isn't just hopefully we get this piece of software out the door when we make 100 million. It's, you better make this because there might be a TV series off of it. And like, there's like that follow TV series and things. And like, there's a whole bunch of shit, like, off the backs of these things. And like, I don't see a way back. Like, I don't run Microsoft, of course. I've never had the experience to run such a large company, but how do you come back from something like this? Like if Xbox was independent, I think they might be already dead.
Well, yeah, I mean, they probably would be, because you mentioned before, like, how do you succeed? Like, are you supposed to just, make, like you mentioned before, make the product and they will come? That has already proven to not be true. There have been plenty of studios like Bluepoint and the guys that made the name escapes me right now, but the rhythm game where you play as the guy who has the like iPod in his chest and it's like a music action beat 'em up game.
Yeah, okay.
Hi-Fi Rush. These massive successes, these breakout successes that could have had entire genres almost like off the backs of these projects, and then people begging Sony and PlayStation to have Bluepoint do like a Bloodborne remake, like guaranteed money. And then they just go, layoffs. Like, the sentiment has already been established. We know what it is. If you make a bad game, your studio gets shut down and fuck you. If you make a breakout game success, 10 out of 10, whole industry loves you.
Same thing.
Studio shut down, fuck you. Like, so there's no winning. Like, it's the industry is, like, volatile is almost not even extreme enough a word. It's almost just pure chaos. There's no guarantee of anything happening or not happening. We have no way of telling.
Mm-hmm. This is what we're starting to see as a result of what Sean Layden was talking about when he left, where he was talking about basically like games, like the game development cycle, the way games are made, the way the business is done, it's not sustainable. And I think we're starting to see that, where like these games are taking 6-7 years. They come out finally, and if it has one controversy, one problem, isn't as good as people think, comes out at a bad time, whatever, those are risks that were always a part of every game. But those games used to take 2-3 years to make, and then you could, reload and redo it again.
Yeah.
And or maybe you could even like release some DLC and kind of save it. You can still kind of do that today, but everything takes so long to make, takes so much money to make, then now it's like, oh great, so I had 100 devs working on this. This didn't make enough money to keep all those jobs. I got to get rid of some people. I read earlier today that reportedly some devs were laid off from the AC Black Flag Resynced team already. Like, it's just sort of like, oh, thanks for making that. Bye. Like,
yeah, job's done, and so we'll keep a skeleton crew for updates, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's like Christ, like what is going on? Like, how do you fix it? And like I've talked to Ryan about this, where it's like, I almost want to say that, like, what you need to do, and like, again, this might be total nonsense at this scale, but like, to me, it's like you almost need to like have your cash cows and know they're your cash cows, but then have teams that are going to run in the red, but they won't run in the red all the time necessarily. Like, they might have a breakout hit, but where they really won't run in the red is the information you're going to get. So like I was talking about like Sony, for example, like Sony has Bend made Days Gone, and people, whatever, it's lukewarm, whatever. But Bend is a talented studio. Mm-hmm. Like they've made other games in the past and things. They've been around for a long time, and now they're a support studio. It would almost make more sense to say, okay, like Sony goes, all right, we're going to get, I guess they just made a Ghost of Yotei, but let's get another Ghost of Tsushima, franchise, whatever they're going to call it. Let's get another one of them. Let's get another Uncharted. Let's get another, I don't know, Sly Cooper or something. Let's get these tried and true things going. And then let's get this studio here, Bend. We're going to give them a runway. We're going to allow them to experiment, maybe have smaller projects or something. and we're going to see how they do. And we're going to learn things about like the market, which is super valuable. You're going to learn things about the market. You're going to learn things about different like technologies and things. And you're going to see how those things do. And then maybe they're going to have a breakout hit and you have another franchise on your side. And allows you to like continually like you have cash flow and you just allow Bend or allow whoever you assigned to be your experimental team and they can run in the red just with a certain budget. Obviously you don't let it run away, but because like now them talking about like we need to speed up the development of Elder Scrolls. It's like, well, Elder Scrolls 6 is already well into development, maybe a year or 2 out, 2 years out or something. But like talking about Fallout, like Fallout is barely in development.
But again, this like is sort of operating under the assumption that they're okay with a failure, and they're just not. Like anything that is not a guaranteed success, even like when you say, oh, they need to have their, you know, their money makers or cash cows they can always rely on, always fall back on. The understanding is that these games are all like, or these companies, they are all already like profitable year over year. Otherwise they would be losing money from investors and stuff. It's not good enough. It's still not good enough. Like this level of like capitalism, corporatism demands non-stop number go up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fair point. I mean, the thing too is like, okay, like you're going to like Elder Scrolls is going to be a mega hit, like fair. Is Halo? Halo's kind of tired.
I feel like people are not really fans of Halo anymore.
That's what I mean. It's like Halo's kind of like a tired franchise. Like Fallout, another mega hit. Like fair enough. But they're largely not games as a service. Yes, there's the Creation Club, and so there's some monetization post game or post launch. But like, what does Halo have? Well, Halo does have the hallmarks of a games as a service, but it doesn't have like the fandom behind it anymore. So it's like if we see another Halo not do amazing, like is Halo dead? Like is Master Chief gone forever? Like what are we gonna do here? It's like this industry is in a bad place. This is in a bad place.
It's arguably in the worst place that it's been since the like console crisis of the 80s, the late 80s.
Yeah, actually, yeah, the bit wars and all that garbage. Yeah,
because people are just like, and the problem is that it's not even like before it was, oh, you know, there aren't really enough games to like incentivize people to buy a console, enough good games, and they're like expensive and stuff. Now we're just kind of at the point where like there's arguably too many games and there's not enough value for not even the customers. The customers aren't the ones that are defining the market now. It's the companies now. The people want there to be games. And yet these companies are going to go, you say you want a game, but that game's not going to make me $1 trillion, so I'm kind of out. And it's like, it's
yeah.
The problem is that like Icarus is going to fly too close to the sun, and he's going to take out every other person who's trying to fly up on his way back down.
Yeah,
like it's just it's going to be a collapse.
What's crazy too is like you do see the market trying to regulate itself. We've talked about this on the show, where you are seeing the sort of rise of AA games. You're starting to see different pricing, which was like kind of unheard of. I know that deluxe and premium editions were always kind of a crapshoot for how much they would be. But if games were, let's say, $80 in Canada, then all new games, short of maybe some indie games, were $80. Now we're starting to see some difference there, where if it's a story-only game, maybe it's like 65, maybe it's 60. Like we're starting to see the industry sort of like take a stand and go like, okay, like we know this isn't going to sell if it's this. You know, let's find the sweet spot. I mean, even Mafia, that's another not a GTA or anything, but it's a series that's been around for a very long time, over 20 years now. That series, their latest game was not full price, was not full retail of like a regular AAA game. And so,
yeah,
like you're starting to see the market try to like correct. I mean, the one good thing too is like you are also seeing like the tools to make games are getting better. inevitably. And you're also seeing people embrace that. Like, I would say this is almost a little bit of a renaissance for indie, but at the same time, a lot of people are indie game developers now. A lot of people are indie app developers, if it's, games on the phone and that. And even that is a crowded space. So it games take too long to make, and we have too many games, and we have too much expectation on them. So this is like, you're 100% right, Tim. Like, this is a clusterfuck. I mean, straight up, this is a total disaster.
It's concerning because it just makes me think of, like, Bluepoint is my perfect example where, like, if Sony never bought Bluepoint, they'd still be around.
Yeah.
Those people would still have their jobs, and they would still be making games. It was an extremely talented studio. A friend of mine worked there, and he was very excited to be learning from the people, like the more senior devs that were there, picking their brains, learning about the industry, learning different skills, just being passionate about video games. And then Sony comes in, they get their fingers in the pie, and when they decide, like, Andy in Toy Story, I don't want to play with you anymore, they just discard it, and now it's gone. And those people don't get to have that team anymore, basically, that dynamic, that company, that culture, that vibe. It's just
they made a PS5 launch title.
Yeah. So, like, I just get the same vibe of, like, if they had just left well enough alone, we could still have video games, but it's hard not to be like a doomer about it and be like, these companies are going to destroy the industry because they're trying to redline profitability as long as possible. And it's just, there's no plan for how do we keep it sustainable? Because you can't just keep hiring and firing people when it's most convenient for you to min-max your bottom line. There has to be a balance. And there's from the outside, there's seemingly no consideration at all for that balancing act.
And what's funny too is, like, talking about, like, the industry trying to regulate that out, is we're starting to see it also in the hardware space, where those Chinese handhelds that are mostly emulation devices or Android, you can just play like some high-end Android games on them, and they're sort of like little Steam Decks at varying levels of power. Some of them look like Game Boys, some look like Vitas, some of them look like their own thing. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry now. And, like, how the hell did they scoop in? It's like, because people got freaking fed up. They want to play their old retro games because they're sick and tired of hearing all this stuff. And what sucks about that is, like, that is the industry kind of trying to self-regulate. But if you got people that are like, screw all this, I'm just going to play retro games, that's one less person that's going to buy the modern games. And so that's one less modern game that's sold, which is now causing even more chaos among the ballooning development costs of everything.
Yeah.
You were talking about redlining too. I didn't put this in the show, but I want to bring this up because I saw this headline a few times. So this was mentioned in one of IGN's daily fixes here, but reportedly Fallout New Vegas developer, which is of course Obsidian, has been ordered to ditch Avowed 2 to work on a Fallout game.
Yeah.
And of course, it kind of makes sense. Like, Avowed didn't do too well. But again, it's like, sometimes, like, Assassin's Creed 1 didn't do too well. Assassin's Creed 1 friggin' stunk. But you saw the potential there. And then 2 comes out, it's like, holy crap. Like, you really iterated on this.
Huge, yeah.
Don't even allow iterations anymore. It's like, redline it. Give me the biggest, like, bucket of money possible. Get those sons of bitches on Fallout, Yeah,
and I've seen people kind of both ways about this announcement too. Like, they think that they're concerned that Obsidian can't capture lightning in a bottle again. Like, they were good at making old school RPGs for sure, but clearly, like, a new Fallout game would not be pursuing the same vibe and aesthetic as Fallout 1 and 2 or New Vegas. Like, unless they specifically they want to put Obsidian on, like, a New Vegas 2 or a New Vegas remaster or something.
Yeah. Yep.
But the team is different. Like, it's not the same people at Obsidian anymore. And even though a number of the like OG devs from Obsidian have said like, yeah, we would be more than happy to like do another Fallout game. Like we would want to work with Bethesda again if they wanted us to. It's different. So like it's hard to say. Like obviously I say this as a huge fan of specifically Obsidian made Fallout games. I could really easily see it going either way.
Yeah. And I would imagine, because I know that Fallout 5 had reportedly entered into development, but it was like sort of that concepting planning phase, whatever they want to call it. I would imagine that they would want, Bethesda, would want to make Fallout 5. So whatever they're making is probably not a Fallout 5. It's probably a spin-off. Yeah. And so by that nature, it's like, the points you made up, or the points that you said, it's like, are they going to be able to capture that magic in a bottle again? But also, are they going to have the budget to do it if it is a spin-off title? Is this going to be some half-assed attempt to just quickly get a Fallout game while they have Elder Scrolls cooking so that they can like go from Elder Scrolls 6 to like immediately to Fallout? Like, are we starting to create like a game factory? you know what I mean?
We're well
like,
past that point.
yeah, I guess that's true.
It's just product to be churned out. Like, I do wonder what the sort of ratio is of people who are looking at investing into like a games company or whatever, and how many of them actually give a shit about games and how many don't, because the ratio's gotta be like pretty heavily don't give a shit. This is just the biggest entertainment industry at this point, and I want to bet on something that could make me $10,000 instead of $1,000.
Yeah.
With my same money.
Oh, sucks. And this actually leads into our next story, which is it's less of a big story and more of a weird talking point, but it's about Xbox, so it's relevant right now. Xbox's bold plan for the future sounds nearly impossible. This comes to us from The Verge. Xbox's bold plan for the future sounds nearly impossible after decimating its gaming division. Microsoft somehow hopes to eventually reach more than 1 billion people each day. Buried in Sharma's restructuring memo was a curiously optimistic statement, quote, "I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains more than 1 billion people each day and gives everyone the opportunity to create and connect," end quote. So some questions here, like what does that mean? Like what does 1 billion people look like? Like are you talking concurrent players, people that are just logged in? Because this is an unclear metric that they're trying to reach. Like, does it include other markets? Like, are they talking mobile games? Are they talking about movie rentals? Yeah. Like, what are they talking about?
It's got to be everything, right?
I would hope so. And also, it's still absurd.
Of course, that's allegedly like 1/8, 1/9 of the entire planet every day. Like, that's an insane, goal. What's the acronym? Like SMART goals? The A stands for attainable.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that the R stands for realistic? Like, is that attainable? Is that realistic? Or are we just saying shit? Like,
yeah, like, what do you, I guess we could like dive into the statement somewhere, but it's like, what do you mean by 1 billion? Like 1 billion, is that just like a stretch goal where you're kind of just saying, I'm working toward getting more people on Xbox and I'm not giving up? Is that just sort of like an optimistic, like, I want to do this? Like, it's probably unattainable. Yeah, it's like it'd be like me saying I'm going to go climb Mount Everest. Like, I'm not going to, but like, I suppose anything's possible. I don't know why this like stood out to me so much. This just put like a bad taste in my mouth. Like, it's good to be optimistic. It's good to have these goals, but like, you're 100% right, Tim, with the attainable. Like, how attainable is this? How much like backbreaking work is going to go into this? And like, is anyone going to be laid off over this goal? Obviously, like, this could just be nonsense in a memo, never mentioned again, to be clear.
Yeah.
We're reading into it for the sake of the show here. But I mean, is this like, that's it? Like, that game's only going to get us 100,000 people, so I don't want that. Like, is that where we're at? Like,
well, what
are we doing here?
You could make the point that like this could be an indication of how they view the entire process at Xbox right now, like the management process. Like, is this indicative of their mentality across the board, which is to say they have these really lofty ideals that none of them are going to be attainable?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this just a potential kind of peek behind the curtain at the rest of everything else too?
It indicates something like, it doesn't indicate it, but it reminds me of something like there are CEOs that are brought in to just run things. You're brought in, you run things, you make a profit, you try to grow the company, you try to grow the project that's in front of you, whatever your goal is. That's what you do. You're just sort of like you're just a CEO. But there's some CEOs that are brought in, some executives even that are brought in to like clean messes up. And I feel like Asha's there to clean the mess up. I don't think that's up for debate. I think that she's there to clean the mess up. But what is the goal for the mess cleanup? Like, are we looking at, like, really, are we looking at spinning Xbox out as independent? And if and when that happens, she's trying to slim it down, make it a nice little package. Hey, look, we have a Fallout game on the way. Hey, look, we have an Elder Scrolls game that just came out, when the time comes. And then is that her job as an executive done? She leaves, she goes back to Microsoft, she's promoted or put into a different position, and then they sell it and then they run it. Whomever, like maybe Netflix or whomever buys them, or independently, they choose their own administration team. Like, is that, like, what's the goal of this damage control? And that this, for some reason, this just stood out to me as like, I don't know what this means in terms of like her damage control, like what she was brought in to do. Like some CEOs are brought in when a company is not doing well and is public, and they're like, our goal is to make it private. This guy's really good at, getting a whole bunch of capital together and having money in the bank. Get this guy in there, make sure we can buy back our shares, put him in there. Okay, good. Okay, get him out of there. Now we need someone else to like help us innovate something. I'm not saying Asha's going to necessarily do that. Like, obviously this is all speculation, but I'm just super curious what her plan is,
Yeah. I feel like I don't know enough about the way that corporations and companies like do this sort of thing to be able to necessarily speculate. Like, I would be flying completely blind. I have no idea if there's any pattern to follow with this sort of thing.
Yeah. I think, like, I mean, this is so loose. I think the only pattern that I recognize, and like many other people would recognize this, is just quite literally there was an arguably bad CEO, which would be Don Matrick. Like, people didn't like him. He gets outed in one way or another. Phil Spencer comes in. He's a liked guy, good PR, because Don Matrick had bad PR. He's a good, he has good PR. He's kind of really loved by the community to an extent. And he comes in, but then unfortunately things don't improve. So now they're like, okay, now we need a cleaner. Like, now we need someone who just doesn't give a fuck and is like, all right, like, how do we get these numbers to not be in the red anymore?
And all the while, small studios will get bought up and closed and shut down and reorganized, and people lose their jobs. And that's the part that kills me, is that like the people who are making these decisions are never the ones that ever have to suffer the consequences of their actions.
Never.
It's the injustice of it that is so distinctly frustrating. And like, the only thing that you can do is like maybe go off and make your own company and hope that you make some, breakout success of a game. But even then, it's like, what happens if you inevitably make a successful game that gets you on the radar of some bigger company that'll then want to buy you up?
And what really sucks about that is there's definitely going to be people that, spin up their own company, do what you just said, and they're super passionate. But they're also human. They may have families. And when someone flashes $100 million at them, it's like, well, I'm just going to take that because I would be an idiot not to, because
take it and run.
Because I'm struggling with, maybe you're struggling between game cycles. Like, you're worrying about whether this game's going to do well. Like, do I take 100 million or do I not? Do I take 10 million? And do I not? Like, I'll tell you right now, I would probably sell out. Like, I would. It would, unless I was set up. Like, that's the thing, right? Is like the allure, like how alluring is not having financial stress ever again.
Yeah,
pretty high.
everyone's got their price, right? Like,
yeah,
everyone's got their price.
So like, 10 million comes across the table. I'll be like, yeah, like, I'm down. Like, let's do it. Like, get me out of this rat race. And then I'll just do whatever the hell I want. Like, I'm not likely to just sit around, but at the same time, But I mean, who knows? Like, I'm not a game dev. I don't own a game studio. So, and there's always going to be cases of people that are passionate enough that are just like, no, like, I wanted to build this. I built it. Go away. And then that ends that chapter.
Yeah.
Away from the Xbox news, let's move on to our third, final, and also depressing story.
No palate cleanser, nothing light and refreshing to end as like a nice little dessert, a little cap.
Then
God,
what was so terrible was I looked and I was like, okay, I can't really find anything.
So I went to like a news conglomerate, and there's like some okay news, but it's all just sort of like, and Bill was promoted today. Like, it's not actual news where you like cover on a podcast kind of thing. Like, so yeah, Black Flag Resynced, I mean, has already, I saw on Instagram this morning, has already sold 2 million copies.
Pretty good.
I would call that a success.
Yeah.
Whether Ubisoft considers it a success, I don't know. But anyway, Black Flag Resynced has come out. That's the remastered, remade, whatever you want to call it, Assassin's Creed Black Flag game. And of course, there's some backlash and there's some crap to cover here. It is Black Flag Resynced has microtransactions. Ubisoft responds to backlash as $60 Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced launches with $85 worth of microtransactions. This comes to us from IGN. Now, Ubisoft has stated that these additional packs are entirely optional. This DLC, or this I'm going to call it microtransaction DLC, I guess, includes time-saving maps where you can pay $5 to show your collectibles on the map without having to discover them yourself, as well as skins/outfits coming in at about $10 a piece. Some of them are for the ship. Some of them are for Edward himself. A standard fare here. So here's the DLC packs that are available at launch. These include the Master Assassin Character Pack, as well as the Master Assassin Naval Pack. You also have the Hellfire Character Pack, as well as the Hellfire Naval Pack. You have the Sea Serpent Character Pack, and then its Naval Pack variant as well. You also have Dragon Storm Character Pack, and its Naval Pack variant as well. And then you have the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced Map Pack, which is that $5 pack I mentioned. And those prices are American, by the way, the 60, the 85, the 5, and the 10.
Yeah.
Those are all American prices. USD. I'm going to be honest. I understand the backlash, but we've been here many times before. And if you told me that Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced did not have microtransactions, I would have been surprised.
I think the thing that people just keep coming to is, like, if it's going to be available there from the start, why is it not, like, just part of the base game? Like, why are we releasing games with, like, quote, optional stuff for DLC, but it's coming out the same day? Like, before, when you had a game come out, and then later on down the line, it was that you had more cosmetics or whatever stuff, like incidental stuff, become available. It's like, yeah, they're charging for it because it's work that people kept doing after the game was done. Like, it's creative work. You're buying extra content because, like I said, the work's been done by people after the game came out. Like, the development of the game continued, and it's like, I feel like you can justify asking money for that because they're still developing it. Like, I think that's fair. And there's a group of people that are like, no, if a game comes out and I've paid full price for this game, like, I am entitled to everything that ever comes out for it after the fact. Which, like, again, I disagree with, because if people are still working on it, then I think those people deserve to be paid.
Especially if it's a new story, like Freedom Cry is a whole new story, for example, old DLC for the original Black Flag.
Yeah, it's a big content thing, right? Which I think it's also technically, like, standalone. So like I said, right, the problem comes from the fact that, like, clearly when you're going to have day one DLC, like, cosmetic and content stuff that's going to come out the same day, it was clearly already ready. It was designed to be ready to go when the game launched. That stuff was to go alongside the game. Why is that not just included? Like, that seems intentionally nickel and dimey.
Oh, no doubt, I would say. nickel and dimey at a time when like prices are kind of going off the charts and people are like really starting to worry about pricing.
Yeah.
And not some people aren't even like, I am personally not worried about pricing. I'm disgusted by the price, actually. So like there's some things now where I look at it, I'm like, cool game, not buying it, including Black Flag Resynced. I'm like, don't need it.
I think actually we talked about this game before a couple of weeks ago, and I said it was going to be a day one purchase for me because I loved the original Black Flag, but I think at that time I was thinking, it'll time out well because I'll be like in between games and it'll be a convenient time for me to pick up something new. And now that day has come and I'm realizing that isn't actually the case. So I'm able to sit here and think a little bit more logically about it than emotionally and go, well, hold on a second here. Let's take a look and see let's get a finger on the pulse for these things before we decide if we're going to buy this or not. And from the people that I've talked to who bought it and have played it that aren't necessarily concerned about like buying any of the DLC anyway, they say that the game itself is great. It's very pretty. It plays very well and they're happy with it. So it's going to come down to a question of like, where do you stand on your morals? Are you the kind of person that if you are looking at Assassin's Creed and you disagree with the monetization strategy that Ubisoft has gone for, which to be honest, speaking of companies that need a cash cow, something that's just like regular money to fund them because they're not doing a great job otherwise of like staying afloat necessarily in the industry, had a lot of stinkers. They I don't know that they're going to have lost sales because of this. And I wonder if those lost sales are going to be offset by the existence of this DLC. Because the reality is, we can talk all day about the logistics of all of this stuff, of these, the back and forth, the intricacies and the nuances of the different situations about every individual situation of every game and every company in the industry. The vast, vast, vast majority of people who are buying video games and not even necessarily playing, let's just say people who buy video games, they don't give a shit to this degree. They're not concerned about the minutia. They're not concerned about the details to this like granular scale. The vast majority of people out there are just people who are like, I just want to buy the game that I like and I'm just going to play it and I'm not going to get concerned about the politics at all. And when that's the case, obviously these companies are going to be like, these are the people that whose opinion we care about the most because those are the people who are voting with their wallets and they're voting yes.
It's a fair point. I mean, like, because I've talked to people who like claim they game, especially if you're like at like a conference or something for work. For me, it's like you need to talk about, something more than just the weather. So sometimes they'll bring up video games, but like I'm so clearly more into gaming than them sometimes because they're like, oh yeah, like I'm playing that pirate game with that Edward guy. Like that's literally how they describe Black Flag. I'm like, oh yeah, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know the name of it immediately and stuff. And you're 100% right. Like we're more enthusiasts. And like those guys might be like, yeah, I logged on and fuck, I really liked that, Storm Naval Pack, Dragon Storm Naval Pack. So I just bought it. Bastards got $10 out of me. Like meanwhile, we're like the atrocity of microtransactions, at the analytical level is out of control. And they're just like, those bastards got it because I really like the dragon that was painted on the side of my ship, and they're like, they don't give a shit. Like they don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
I got some numbers for you, Tim. I pulled it up while you were talking there.
Oh no.
This is Steam Canada. This is us. The base game, Black Flag Resynced, $79.99 Canadian. As a deluxe edition, $89.99 Canadian.
Yep.
And we got some DLCs, and they are not $10. They are not $5. They are $13.49 and $6.99. If you want to buy all the DLC, $114.91.
Hoi, hoi.
And this is pre-tax. But the score is mostly positive, 77% of 3,942 reviews. And this is as of July 10th. So, and the game just came out lots of reviews and lots of DLC.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big ask. I do wonder what the percentages of people who would even like buy all of it, you know?
It's a fair question.
Like, that's also not going to be the vast majority of people. I think most people would understand that, like, most people who are even going to be interested in buying DLC are going to be buying a couple of the ones that they like, and that's it. I don't know if Ubisoft has a lot of, like, whales that they can necessarily rely on to, like, buy everything, because they're like, I want to play this game, I love this game, and I want the absolute, like, full, complete experience, or whatever, right? So, like, those people will exist. But, yeah, I do have to wonder about, like, the statistics of these things, like, how many of those people are actually even going to be part of this conversation if Ubisoft relies on that sort of thing, and you know, are they going to be an outlier or not?
It's weird because, like, I posted a clip from my other podcast recently. We were talking about like game prices and physical games and things, and there's a few clips, different ones about the different things, and I was talking about how, like, with the prices, like, if you want the next console or you want a new phone or something, consumer electronics, like, you should be saving up. And with the physical games, it's like, unfortunately, they're gonna more or less they're gonna get away with it. Like, as much as you want disc back, the chances of them coming back are like nothing, like nil on PlayStation. And people were like, not if we like all band together and do this and that. But like, there's a large portion of the community, like you're saying, that are not plugged in.
Yeah.
There's also a large portion of the community that doesn't care. And also, like, weirdly, I'm not gonna, like, if you told me I bought Black Flag and I really liked the Hellfire character pack, I'm not gonna be like, Tim's a damn idiot, you know. I would just be like, oh yeah, like, I'm not gonna buy that, but cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care that you bought it, but there's people out there that are like, no, we all need to band together. Like, if you buy microtransactions, you know, you're bad, and like this and that. And it's like, dude, like,
it's not a way to get people on your side for your cause.
That's a fair point. Yeah, just go and attack them right away.
Yeah, you don't want to shit talk the people who support you. You know, like, yeah, and it's like, would that potentially work if everybody went to the PlayStation and they said, we're not gonna, you know, buy it, and then they literally vote with their wallets and they don't buy anything PlayStation until literally PlayStation brings back physical media? Yeah, PlayStation would be forced to make that call.
100%.
But that's in a perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world. And I do wonder if PlayStation is going to try to kind of like play chicken in this situation and just try to play it out until people get tired of waiting, and then eventually just give in.
Yeah. And I mentioned this like way back, like, man, like a 2015 episode of this podcast. I mentioned that what I believed at the time with microtransactions was they were trying to get them in, and gamers like us at the time were even back then considered the dinosaurs. What they wanted to get was the kids to get used to having microtransactions and game support. And so then when the kids grew up, they expected the microtransactions and they expected to pay for extra things in games. And that has largely worked. I would say, like, largely, like, especially with things like Fortnite and stuff, people are buying. No one's wearing those damn default skins. Like, as much as people are like, I'm against microtransactions, I see like one a match maybe of a default skin. And half the time it's like a joke where they're all, you know, amazing players, and there's like a squad of 4 and they're all the default skin and they absolutely destroy you. And it's like, you guys have other skins. Like, you can't tell me, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not, but chances are, you know. So, I mean, yeah. Microtransactions, I mean, at least it's not loot boxes.
Yeah, until for how long?
How long indeed. Well, I think let's move on to something positive. Hopefully you were doing something positive this week, Tim. What have you been playing this week?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's been Ghost of Yotei.
Hey, okay.
Which is I'm finally getting around to.
Riddled with loot boxes, I hear.
Riddled with loot boxes. It's a nightmare. No, but it's you know, it's, if you enjoyed Tsushima, it's more of the same that you will like. Same level of detail and polish for the most part. Fan of the story, fan of the character development stuff. I'm not terribly far into it. I'm maybe a third of the way, I'd say. But I'm really, trying to take my time, experience it all. It's one of the first games in a long time where I've honestly just like spent a lot of time just looking at the areas as I go through and enjoying the aesthetics of places. Like almost everywhere you go in this game is a damn painting. Like it's just a vista. It's very impressive. And it took me a while to get to it, but I am damn glad that I am playing it now. It's really, really good. But that honestly has largely been it. I've been doing some hardcore classic WoW, like I fell back onto for a little bit again. Haven't ever really had any close calls until literally right before we started recording this podcast. That was a little touch and go there for a bit. But yeah, it's funnily, I've been watching these videos by this YouTuber called GBay99, who is not originally a Warcraft player, but he was a fan of like RuneScape and stuff, and he had a lot of people tell him that he should try WoW, and he started playing retail, and he kind of liked it, and then people were like, "Oh no, you don't want to play retail, you want to play classic," and so they started playing between that retail and classic, he played Warcraft 3. Like he went back and played the RTS, and he just fell in love with it. And then he wanted to continue on and play World of Warcraft, 20 some odd years after it had come out. So like no nostalgia, just to see if people who said that classic WoW is really good are actually correct, or if it's just like nostalgia talking. And he just loved it. Loved it. So he's been having a really, like, he's kind of doing a series of videos where he's kind of going through it, the leveling journey from 1 to 60. And it's just a delight because it's one of those things where you like see somebody enjoying something that you really enjoy and being able to like put to words why it's good, sometimes in a way that you couldn't. Yeah, it's just really neat. And he's got this like almost childlike wonder about it, which is really, really cool to see. So yeah, I'm very enthused to keep following that and seeing what how that all plays out. Because it was sort of a similar situation to me where like I had played the hell out of Warcraft 3 when I was 12, 13, and I never actually got into World of Warcraft because I was like, man, I'm a nerd, but that's like super nerdy shit. MMOs? And I had like dabbled in RuneScape and stuff, but I, never really tried to play it. But I went back to Classic WoW like a year ago because of playing the hardcore servers with a bunch of people. And I have just kind of finished, I would say, with my time for now with like, because they're doing this really weird staggered release type schedule with the classic stuff, because now like they had the classic servers, they're doing the anniversary stuff, which is like also classic servers, but it's like differently phased. So it's all very confusing. It's like the different update phases and patches are like staggered. And I did the anniversary server for the first expansion, the Burning Crusade, which was a lot of fun to play through because I'd never played through Burning Crusade content when it was like, quote, sort of like the relevant expansion, like the current one. So that was really neat. But seeing, people going back playing Classic WoW again, really enjoying the world and stuff and like the stories, it really makes me want to like go back and play through Classic again and like really take my time and pay attention to like a lot of the quest lines and stories in a way that I hadn't before, because I did that with the Burning Crusade stuff. I did my like lore through where I stopped and I read all the quest dialogue, and I was like reading every little bit of like the notes and all the lore everything I could get my hands on playing through it and just really trying to like pay attention to as many details as possible. And that was super, super sick. And I realized that while I had played on the Horde faction to do that for Burning Crusade, many people who have played World of Warcraft say that the leveling experience from 1 to about 30 on the Alliance, particularly if you've made a human character, is like perfection in the game.
Oh, wow.
It's like really, really, really solid. And that would be really cool. Like, I have played these quests before and stuff, but honestly, like, I have rushed through it a decent amount. And so it would be neat to really slow down and take my time with it. Especially if I had, a couple of people to do it with as well. Or at the very least, like, to enjoy it along with me kind of thing, right? If we stream it. So it's sort of something that I've been thinking about doing again recently. And playing Warcraft 3 again as well. I haven't played that game in like 20 years. And I've talked, I know more than once on the podcast about the custom game modes online on Warcraft 3. But again, it's like one of my favorite pieces of media and was very impactful on me growing up, honestly. Like, probably in the same way that like kids in the 70s and 80s had Star Wars. Like, I had Warcraft and Warcraft 3, and it was very
Warcraft 3 custom games.
and the custom games and stuff. But like, those storylines, like people have compared the stories of certain Warcraft characters to just Star Wars. And I can't, in the sense that it's like it follows the same like hero's journey type thing. I think it's like it's a fair comparison in terms of like pop culture impact, and definitely forming of my interests when it comes to like fantasy and media, right? For sure. So I'm very Warcraft pilled right now and enjoying the hell out of it.
I was actually going to do a query question, and you reminded me of this. I was thinking about games. So I went on IGN's website, and this is going to go right back to what you were talking about with Warcraft, but I went on IGN's website to gather some stories for this episode, and I saw like this whole section of like Black Flag, Resynced guides and announcements and everything. But a lot of them are guides. This is how you do this. This is what you do first. This is how you go here and there. And I was thinking to myself, part of like the whimsicalness, part of like the wonder, the adventure, and I'm sure that like definitely applies to World of Warcraft and like other MMOs and things, is like you going through organically and sort of like discovering things and figuring things out. And then especially in the case of an MMO, having social experiences in there as well.
Yep.
Like I remember you and I years ago when World of Warcraft first had the sort of like free to play level 1 through 15 or something, we played that. And that was like very like, like we didn't look at any guides. Like you were helping me, but that's part of the social, like that's part of the game. And like we just went through and played it, and it was very like organic, and like I still remember it. But what I was thinking of is like with games now, like I wonder if part of the reason why games are suffering is because they're solved immediately.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not against looking at guides, but sometimes I kind of am, because I'm just sort of like, man, like imagine like Black Flag. I just played that back in the day, but like looking up like where to get the friggin' hook blade or whatever, and like where to get the stupid this, and like how do you get these secret treasures, and how do you do this, and it's like, man, like did the dev really expect us to like go and hit these guides hard? Like these games have already been solved by influencers who've had the game for a week or a month or whatever, and we could just go online and find the answers to everything. And then you know what I mean? Like it ruins the whimsicalness. Yeah. And if you don't look it up, if you get stuck in the game and you don't look it up, then you like, well, now I'm wasting time. And it ruins it because you know the answers out there or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's a conversation that, funnily enough, like that is a topic that this guy even touches on in his videos.
Okay.
The idea, because like it's a 22-year-old game. World of Warcraft Classic. Like it's solved. It is a solved game.
100%.
It's the same way you look at things like RuneScape, and RuneScape is a solved game. Like people know literally, like formulaically, how to min-max the fuck out of leveling, because all you do in RuneScape is level. The grind is the point, right? And so like people have figured it out. Like they've even figured out like the ways that you can manipulate things in your inventory to like make it so that you can interact with fishing things faster, you know, so you can make that grind go just that little bit faster. Like it's been min-maxed, it's been figured out, it's been completed, right? And that's cool. Like if you want to do that, that's a whole other like level of technicality in terms of like a way to play the game, right? But with something like an old school RPG like World of Warcraft Classic, like you say, right, half the point of it is the social part, the social interaction. And when you are trying to like achieve certain objectives in the game, like, yeah, there's add-ons, there's guides, there's things you can follow to like know how to do everything. Like people have, to the same extent as RuneScape, like figured out everything in World of Warcraft at every point of the game, and every patch, and every update, and every phase. What's best in slot for which character, for like what's the fastest, literally most efficient route to level while you're playing and stuff. Like this stuff is figured out. And it can be tempting to go for all of that stuff because the world we live in, you know, our attention spans are more fried than they were before. And what's funny is like a lot of the content creators specifically who are like playing Classic WoW right now are advocating for that playstyle of like slowing down, you know, taking your time to not look things up, message people that are like in the game, in the world, and say like, hey, what is this place for? I'm trying to solve this, like figure out this quest, and I don't know, I don't have the meta knowledge because I never played this game when I was a kid. Where do I go for this quest? I have to read quest dialogue and have the NPC tell me what NPC I'm supposed to go find and talk about this thing. Like, it's all part of the intended experience.
Yeah.
And making you feel like understand the world the way that the devs wanted you to feel it and interact with it. And, you know, and if you don't like that sort of thing, that's totally fine. You can definitely still play it in a more modern way. And that's what all these like add-ons and quality of life things are for. But I do just like encourage people to interact with it in the way that it was intended, because it's honestly like a unique experience that you don't really get from any other MMO these days. Like every MMO seems to be, aside from maybe like Final Fantasy 14, like everyone will tell you, oh, the real game starts at the end game. Like, oh, you hit max level, nice, you've gotten to the starting point, right? And it's like, especially with Classic WoW, like the point was always the leveling, the journey, at least for like, you know, a good chunk of the game, and not even like, you know, half of it. It is the majority of the experience. And so, for me as well, like I've absolutely been that kind of person where I was like very like, you know, grind as fast as you can, get to the end game type thing. And I've almost had this as sort of like a way of forcing myself to interact with things in an old school way again. And it's been really fun. Not only because, you know, I played this game a lot when I was younger, but also because like, it's, like I said, it's an experience that you don't really get from a lot of other stuff these days.
Yeah. I mean, I even played ESO there for a while, and I played it with just with Ryan, and then I tried it again years later with Ryan and Aaron. And like part of the issue is like I was totally looking up guides, figuring out the min-max of stuff. Like it's like, oh, go back and blacksmith. Okay, where's the iron and where's the tin? You know, and where's this and where's these materials? Like, and I don't want one, I want three. So like, you know, where's the best place to do it? And I was like kind of going in and doing it in a solved way. And then one of us, I can't remember, was doing the quests, because you can't really do the quests together, was doing the quests in a more organic way. And we would go through and people would ask me, you know, like whoever it was asking me, like, how did you do this part of the quest? And it's like, I couldn't even remember. Like, it was so formulaic of me just like run around, click here, click there, look for like the objective icon, click here, click there, click here, like skip through the chat and go.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, like just thinking back, it's like, Jesus, like that game probably has like a shitload of story. I could probably actually I would actually probably enjoy it as an Elder Scrolls, you know, shockingly. I'd probably enjoy it as an Elder Scrolls game, but it's like that I don't know, it's like that rapid fire, I don't know, gamer or something in me. And it's very weird. But I am sort of like slowly starting to be like, I don't need to do that. Like I mentioned on the show a few times, like I've been playing my PSP and stuff, and like some of the stuff is clunky on the PSP because it's old. Some of it's clunky because it's been ported onto a PSP. And so they're trying to like make a concession from a full console title. But some of it is just because it's difficult or whatever. And it's okay that I don't like a small part of a game. It's like I rise to the challenge and get through it. It's like part of it's a journey. If I don't like the whole thing, like Bounty Hound sucks for me. So like fuck that game. But like there's some other ones where I'm like, that level sucked. Thank God it's over. Like and now on to the next. It just feels like I'm like missing the journey part of a lot of my games. It's just super interesting. And what's weird is Crimson Desert is just sitting there. Like I really want to play Crimson Desert. Although once again, I'm still disgusted by prices today. So there's that. But I really want to play Crimson Desert. But I look at the sheer size of it, and I'm just like, holy crap. But as a kid, I wouldn't even care about hitting the end. I would just be like, oh my God, this game's never going to end. I'm going to buy this. And if I played like 40 of the like 7,000 missions, then I played 40 of the 7,000 missions. It wouldn't matter. Very bizarre. Very interesting. And that's all you've played? That's what you're
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty much been it. Yeah.
Well, for me, I have been continuing my Spider-Man 2 journey. Something happened. My game progress said it was like 30%, and now it says it's 28 after I played it for a while. So I don't know, something happened there, something messed up. But I kind of figured I wasn't 30% of the way through because it was pretty early. But I've been playing that. Pretty fun, honestly. The controls are really great. I'm actually good at the combat in this game, which is awesome. And it's just challenging enough. Like sometimes I get humbled a little bit, but I'm able to come back and still keep fighting, and I die occasionally. But most of the time I win. So it's just the right difficulty, which is cool, which is nice.
Yeah, nice.
But one of the things I'm starting to notice in the game, and I'm kind of fatigued with a little bit, is I play Spider-Man because I want to be like the superhero. You're fighting the villains, you're doing that type of thing. And I know there's the whole like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man part. Well, I just did like 4 missions in a row of being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like help these kids around campus. It's like, holy fuck.
You're too friendly.
It's like, I don't want to help these kids around campus. It's like, I'm trying to ask this guy out on a date. Like, can you help me? Not really.
Why would Spider-Man do that?
Yeah, it's like fucking Sandman is like attacking the city. Like, can we like hold up here? Even just like a police chase, of which apparently there are a billion in all these Spider-Man games. It's like a police chase, is more important than you asking this person out, because you could still do it without me. Like, you don't need Spider-Man to help you out, which is, Jesus Murphy. So I'm playing, very, very, very light spoilers. I'm playing as Miles Morales because you could switch between the two whenever you want. Playing as Miles Morales. So I did this mission at your school, and I won't like divulge the details there. But then after that, it was like, hey, like there's 3 different like things at the school that need your help. And it was like, oh, the rival school stole our mascot. And it's like fucking Spider-Man is doing this. We did this in like our real high schools, and fucking Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Well, you see, normally the system would fall back on like the local police to resolve that, but the local police force is too taxed as it is. They're underfunded, they're understaffed, and so now the responsibility falls to Spider-Man, who's just out here to help his local education system, I guess. He's a nerd, right? He went to like an engineering school.
And Miles Morales is young. He's just like leaving high school.
Right.
Yeah. So like I'm still in like grade 12 or whatever the equivalent is in New York State. But like you're right about the police force. They are understaffed because at any time Sandman or another villain's like destroy 10 to 15 buildings. It's like, oh fuck. Like, this is serious. Burn the city down and find Spider-Man.
Oh.
It's like, oh Jesus. Like, it's serious. So that's rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. It's like having a couple of those. I think they might have been side missions. Like, I think when I hovered over them, it was like, these are side missions, but also I don't even want them to be side missions. Like, it's just sort of like, I don't know, because well, I made a mistake in the previous game where I didn't really level my shit up. Like I wasn't really paying attention to level it up. I wasn't paying attention to my gadgets. And then later in the game, I was like, God damn, this is friggin' difficult. And it was because of that. I mean, obviously. But so this game, I'm like really trying to be like, let's make sure I get some. You get like parts in the game. So it's like, let's make sure I get good parts. Let's make sure I have like my XP to level up. Let's make sure I'm friggin' keeping up with my shit. And then I like to buy the different suits. So I'm buying those with the parts and stuff. And so it's like, I want to keep up with shit. And so it's like, oh, like, I guess helping you find this date is worth 8,000 XP. Like, I suppose. Like,
damn.
Like,
it's not nothing.
Yeah. But other than that, the game's really fantastic. Like I said, combat's really great. The city's really cool. I like how big it is. And I just finished all the stuff with Miles Morales at this point in the story. And so I'm on to Peter Parker right after. And I'm never in the default suit. Somebody mentioned it to me. I don't remember who it was like, do you guys ever like switch suits in a game? And I was like, I'm not in the default suit now. Like I was playing Spider-Man at the time. I was like, I'm not in the default suit like currently. And I've switched like 3 times tonight. So,
oh yeah, I'm always changing like aesthetic. Like there was stuff in Yote where I'm like, technically I like these bonuses from this armor set better, but this other fit is just so fucking fire. Like I gotta wear this one. The bonuses are worse, but it's worth it for the drip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that just goes to like further to my point of like, I think I'm past that min-maxing point in my like gaming career. Like I just 2% here, blah, blah, blah. Technically this play style better. Like, I don't care. Chasing the meta, fuck off. Don't, it's whatever.
Yeah, you like short of you dying consistently because you didn't level up your armor, like you're cool with just looking cool.
Yeah.
And with Spider-Man too, like you're getting unique outfits for both Miles and Peter. And then there's variants of each type as well. So like I'm in the Amazing Spider-Man, like the Andrew Garfield like outfit right now. And then I know that, well, I shouldn't say I know, I believe that you can play as the Tobey Maguire one as well. You can in the first game anyway. So you can play as like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So I was ripping around in that. And then I was ripping around as like a 2D cartoon for a while. Oh, and then just as Miles, I mean, spoiler for an unlock, I guess. I have the, I believe it's the, I've only seen it for like 2 seconds. I believe it's the Puerto Rican flag sort of like made into a spider suit for Miles. For doing a collection of side quests. Cool. And it looks fucking awesome actually, because I was like, hang on, is that the Puerto Rican flag? And it is. So yeah, no, it just looked sick. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying the game. Just enough with the friendly shit. Other than that, what else have I been doing? Well, actually, I picked up some stuff on the summer sale. Specifically, I picked up Tainted Grail: Fall of Avalon. I hear it's like a Souls-like or as Scrolls-like. Excuse me. Supposed to be like Elder Scrolls. So I thought that'd be cool. I'm waiting for it to go on sale. It was 40% off, and I thought, okay, like I'll pick this up because I have a long flight coming up, and apparently it runs on Steam Deck. So I'm going on vacation at the end of like August. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll like be able to get 4 or 5 hours of this game in there. So I might do that. And I mean, 40% off is great. So that's good. But I think I don't know if I've played anything else. We are really far into Dying Light. Actually, the very first one.
Oh
yeah, I've been playing that with a buddy. It was literally $2 or $2.50, something like that on Xbox. And he picked it up and it's so good. It holds up. I'm having a blast playing it. We've just been playing it co-op, so whenever we're available, shipping away, an hour here, there. And we've been playing it for like, for quite a while now, like over a number of weeks. So, I mean, spoilers, I guess, but like we're in Old Town now. We've taken out the 2 Rias. There's like 2 Rias staging areas, sort of like compounds, and there's like the main Rias one. So we've taken out 2 of those ones, and we've reconnected with Jade, and we're working through the story that way. But that game is fun as hell, and it really makes me want to play the Beast. And I forgot that you play as Kyle Crane again. I
it's
also
really
keep forgetting that the Beast exists, but
yes,
but I looked it up, and I don't want to see too many reviews because I really looked up Dying Light 2 and then it disappointed me. So I'm like, I just kind of want to like go into it. But I looked up some reviews, just written ones, and then I looked up some screenshots, and it looks fantastic. And I did see a slight bit on TikTok of the new Restored Lands, I think, DLC, where you can actually like make a section of the map like safe again. And so there's like barely any zombies. Like you can work to like sort of restore it, which is kind of cool. So I don't know. It may have sold me. Like once we complete the original Dying Light, if it's on sale, maybe I'll pick up the Beast at some point. But I think that's it. A little bit of Overwatch, a little bit of Apex, the Norm, the Huge. And, my freaking PSP. I have continued Pursuit Force. The boss is really annoying. He yells at you all the time. I died. He's like, don't die, you're fired. And then I was shot in the head and killed. It was horrible.
Oh. Well.
That game is fun as hell. Have you ever played Pursuit Force, Tim? You ever like seen it or anything?
It doesn't sound familiar at all, yeah.
It's literally just like, it's a linear Just Cause game. I'm going to call it that. So you start in like a police boat or a police car. It's like totally outrageous. And it's almost like a comic or a comic book like worth of like world. Cause you're literally like, you're going after the Capelli family. You're going after the mercenaries, like just silly shit like that.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, go take that mercenary out before he gets to the airport. And you literally can like jump from vehicle to vehicle, kill everyone in the vehicle, hijack it. And you're just like in this linear race to like, do the objective, like rescue somebody or take out the amount of vehicles and things. A bunch of action. The game is relatively difficult, I think anyway, but fun as hell. And I could see it getting way more difficult because they also grade you at the end. It's not just like, yeah, you completed it. It's just sort of like, yeah, you got a C rank. It's like, oh, well, I really struggled. There, I kind of wanted.
That checks out.
Yeah, I kind of wanted it higher though. Like, I don't want to go back, but Pursuit Force been continuing that. But that now has truly been my week. That's it.
I don't believe you. There's something else you're holding out on me.
Yeah, you're right. I've been no. No, but that's it. Tim, where can the fine folks find you?
Yeah, so like I said, a variety of things going on the channel, twitch.tv/the sidetrack. Lots of good things coming up. I'm actually going to get back into a truck sim relatively soon too, because I was talking with some friends about potentially doing like an event, I suppose, almost of a bunch of people all playing trucking sim together, multiplayer, and everyone using like the driving wheels and stuff too.
Oh my
like
God.
Controller and stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't have a wheel. And then everyone was like, oh, well, we gotta fund you a wheel. And so one particular stream, people were being very generous and funded a wheel for me in about 5 minutes. So that's going to be coming up. I'm really excited about that. And then, yeah, probably lots of, like I said, like Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft Classic, lore through.
Are you going to have one of those setups that I've seen on TikTok where it's basically like somebody in their room has like the cab of a big rig and they're playing Euro Truck?
I mean, if I could pull it off, that would be sick as hell. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll have time, but I would love to do something like that.
It'd be so much money. It'd be so much money.
I mean, I could even do it shittily where I just have like a painted on a cardboard fake background or something to look like the inside of a truck cab. I don't know. It could be silly, but it's going to require some prep, but we'll get there. It's going to be good.
Man, you gotta at least get a hat. Get like a trucker hat. It says like Freightliner. There's a trucker there that's like, it's Freightliner.
Yeah. I'll just ask my uncle. He's literally a career trucker for like 30 years. So I'll just ask him.
Oh, man. A Western Star man, no doubt.
How did you know?
And you can find us part-time on Wednesdays. We're going to be playing. We just kind of completed our run of Space Marine 2. We've just been playing it for a while, so we've been ripping through the runs.
Yep.
God, it was so disappointing that we didn't get that level 25. Christ. It was so close. But good run anyway. We got to like 22. So we're moving on to Abiotic Commando and maybe something else because I'm going inside unseen on Abiotic Commando, so we'll see how that goes. But that's what we're going to be doing next week. Abiotic Factor. I don't even know what the hell we're playing. Oh, I'm thinking Bionic Commando or no, what's that one called?
Bionic Commando sounds right, yeah.
Bionic Commando. Is that the one from
It's like an older game.
Or no, the one from the World War Z people. I can picture the logo and what it looks like, but I can't remember the name. Toxic Commando?
Yes. Yeah.
Man.
The new one, yeah.
But there is totally a Biotic Commando or something. Anyway.
There is an older game called Bionic Commando, yes.
But we are playing Abiotic Factor, which I have no idea really what it is. So it should be an interesting time. And that's it. Thanks for hanging out. I almost did my my stream exit where I was like, come check out our podcast. It comes out on Sundays.
But you already know that if you're listening to this point.
Maybe they're listening in the future or the past.
Hey, could be.
Peace.